Okay, I've had to change locations because I got chucked off of the car park stairs. Right. Where was I? Was I discussing the monogamy bit? I think this one's so stable and so clearly to me felt like he understood relationships and was actually a good boyfriend in the past, but not like a nice guy. Just like a decent one. That I think I felt like a child, but also not like a happy child. Like disgruntled, confused, and kind of crying outside of the daycare or the nursery. Could I do kids with them? I think I wanted to marry them, but not like conceptually. I think I just wanted that guy to know he was like father material, marriage material, but maybe not with me. And yet my instinct is always to co-parent with them, because I really recede into... I'm like the world's worst mum friend, but I'm kind of always in mum brain, which is why I don't mind hanging out with younger people. Right, next one. What color are they? Maybe like one of those glow-in-the-dark oranges? Or like a brown? My favorite thing about them, they're pretty cut and dry, energetic, easy to befriend. But they're not like stodgy. You don't like get lost in them. They don't like stick you into something. They don't have sticky hands. Their secret weapon, being able to fuck as many people as they did and still have everyone love them. Or him. Again, I'm only speaking about men. I don't know why I can't say him. It feels more awkward. Maybe it's because I am bi, so I'm instantly trying to account for the fact that I like both genders. Do I like, love, and trust them? I think I like, love, and trust them. And I do find them attractive. But they're not the most attractive to me out of the list. Like, I don't think I would run to sleep with them purely off of how they look. And then in the same breath, I feel like we never really spoke that much one-on-one. And then in the same breath, I'm like, so many cigarettes, just the two of us. Old couple or young couple. I couldn't have dated this guy in school. I think I could have dated the last one in school, but I don't think I could have replaced the girl he dated in school. Yeah, I could have dated this one as a... No, I couldn't have dated this one as a teen. Definitely not. I think we're too different, actually. Like, completely different. And not in a way that would lean to us ever speaking in school. I could do old couple with this person for sure. And it would probably be the same as our dynamic now. But it's kind of just friendship, really. We've never kissed, we've never slept together. Could I call them right now and would they help if I needed it? They're somewhere else, like the last guy too. And I don't have their number saved, and I don't think I could call them if I needed it. And I think I might still think about this person more than they think about me. Rate their connection out of 100. Like 99, honestly. But it's a hard one to verbalize or explain. Last interaction. I did fancy them when I first saw them, but I passed them on. Last interaction was sweet. It was nice. I was like crying. Not in bed, but I was just crying. What element is your relationship and how surreal is life? We're like in the jungle together, but we're not in like the desert jungle. We're like in a wet jungle together. Like doing Survivor. Or we're like in a castle, but we're like lowborn in it. We're like stable hands or something. Monogamy. No, I think this guy would fuck around and I wouldn't care. I'd be relieved by it, which is why I don't think it works. And to some extent, I'm like, ooh, or to a certain degree. I think, ooh, it's relief to not be psychotically jealous all of the time. But then I'm like, we aren't together though. So maybe it's because that would actually be harder for me then, I think. But then we'd be so boring if we did it that way. Could I do kids with them? I don't think we'd have kids. And if we did, we'd have like one. And they'd be a bit of a twat. Next one. What color are they? Like a baby blue. My favorite thing about them, they're like my best mate, I think. Their secret weapon. They make me feel like anything is possible, like you can handle any situation. I feel like a weight is lifted off of my shoulders when they're around. I think I love them more than I like and trust them. They are fit. They're like very conventionally attractive. I actually saw a lookalike the other week and I was like, that is like a younger version of that person. And it goes hard every time. They're a looker. Old couple, young couple. I couldn't do growing old with this person. I know that much. I think all that we are is all that we could ever be. And it's like a brother-sister kind of a thing. And in school, it would never happen. I was too frigid and kind of like annoyed at everything. But then in the same, as soon as I say that, I'm like, that is kind of his vibe as well. I think the problem is that we're actually kind of the same in a lot of ways. Then I get insecure about it, and then I think, are we? Or do I just want that to be the case? I feel like I'm the kind of rotting, less kind of likable version. I have less universal appeal, I think. Could I call them right now? They help if I needed it. I could call them, but it would be weird. And would they help if I needed it? Maybe, but probably no. I don't really reach out for that stuff. I'm bad at reaching out in general, actually. Rate the connection out of 100. Maybe a 75. I feel like pushing it further makes it like weird. And then less, and it's not really doing it service. I think on our worst day, it's like a 55. Like, we're not fucking with each other. And on our best day, it's like a 75. But any more than that, and it's a bit much. Last interaction, cleared. Very, like, I don't think I've ever had an interaction with this person where I haven't thought. That I could tell them something, you know, but it's not necessary. I think what makes us different is that I'm unreliable. I'm bad at keeping things to myself, and I feel like I completely trust him to be the other way around, but not like reliable in a yes man way. There is definitely a kind of stability to it, though, you know? What element are we? We're definitely like walking through a hazy kind of snowstorm with fat flakes, I think. But it's quick enough and bland enough that we're like in an icy terrain as well. But there's a degree of sharpness to it, maybe. Away from kind of civilization. Monogamy. I think this person feels kind of like an adventure, a degree of happiness to me, and a space where I can go and I don't feel judged. Even if I've made up the judgments that I think other people are making about me. With this person, when they're critical of me, it feels always like it's coming from like a very reliable source, even though I don't think they're someone I would turn to for advice. I don't know. Could I do kids with them? No, I don't think so. I don't think we make each other better adults. I think we'd be great best friends, like playground best friends. I think that's what I like about this person. But then I think maybe he'd be a cunt to me on the playground. I don't know. Next one. What color are they? Like a plummy brown. Maybe a gold. My favorite thing about them. Ooh, I think this is the guy that might actually understand people the best. He just hides it by being. But the thing is, he isn't like cocky and it feels like he's wearing it for the first time. He like actually does dictate kind of a space, but he does it with a slight degree of relaxation. Their secret weapon. I think this person knows how to annoy me, but not piss me off. So it still feels playful. And they're always in the middle of it. But I never feel like they're drowning in it. And I feel like they can be selfish easily. And even if it weighs on them, it never feels like their decisions are like irrational. Their decision was rational. Like even the mistakes kind of flow in, all the mistakes, you know, or flow through. Like I'm discovering English for the first time every time I speak. It's not even bad. I just don't talk enough. Even though I talk a lot, I've just been hermiting a bit. Next one. What colour are they? Like a peachy, pinky mocha brown, maybe? My favourite thing about them, their stability and maybe their sweetness, but their charge, their secret weapon. I think they're actually an organizational force, but I think they think higher of themselves, or they I think they're kind of not in that teen gossip mentality enough to pick up on all of the threads, which makes me admire them, but they're not quite an old soul. So sometimes I think they know what's going on more than I do. And then other times I think they don't know what's going on at all, which I sort of admire because I wish I wasn't as aware as I am. I think. Do I like, love, or trust them? I think I like them. Love feels weird with this person, but I do sort of love them. And I kind of trust them, but I think we're a safe connection. Oh, do I find them attractive? I forgot to say for the others. Did I finish doing the last one? I swear I didn't. Yeah, I fully didn't. My bad. Let me go back. Where did I get to? I got to their secret weapon and I moved on to the next one. Do I like, love, or trust the last one? I like them, I love them, and I do trust them, even though they're not trustworthy. Do I find them attractive? I think the first time I saw them might be the most I've actually felt like physically attracted to a person in real life. But then in the same breath I think maybe not. But it was a wow moment. But it wasn't romantic. You can just see them doing that to everyone, you know? Could I call them right now? No, I don't have the number saved. Would they help if I needed it? No. Old couple, young couple. I don't think I could ever have dated this person. except from maybe in my 30s for a short while. But it would be like a weird branch off of something. Rate the connection out of 100, like 67, 59. I think we actually struggled to acclimatize to each other, really. Last interaction, I just said, the first time I saw them was like a wowzer moment. Last time I saw them was weird. It was weird. It was a weird moment. We weren't like friends, but I saw them and we didn't speak. What element is the relationship? I'm like in a cabin in the woods with this person. But I'm kind of like a floating presence. I'm like a ghost in the cabin. And I'm afraid to go outside. I think that's how I would describe that relationship. Monogamy. I think if we were together, this person would absolutely test the limits and try and upset me. But I don't think they would actually cheat. And maybe I would have a degree of cockiness with it, where I wouldn't buy into it. Could I do kids with them? Maybe. But I haven't imagined it. Okay, back to the one I started doing last, but then realized I didn't finish the previous one. Do I like love trust him? I think I did say that. Find them attractive. Initially more so than later, maybe. But they're a sort of old school masculine, and yet it does feel a bit teen. There is a certain like sensitivity to this one, but I think if they didn't have it, it would be scary. Could I call this person right now? Maybe, actually. And would they help? I don't think they trust me, actually. I think this person is too logical to help me, even though they're kind of soft. But maybe when we were in the same space together, I think they would be potentially the most dependable one. Like, you could ask them for help. The connection out of 100. Somewhere between like a 62 and an 80. But I haven't seen this person in ages. Last interaction. First was good. It wasn't seismic though. And last was sweet, but kind of sad. What element or like... I don't imagine this person often. I don't fantasize about them often. And I think might be a bit generic to say like a woodlands. I'm trying to think if I can think of something more specific. But it would kind of be like that. Like a woods. Then maybe that's how everyone pictures that person. Monogamy. I don't think we'd ever date. It'd always be like we're just not suited. So I do kids with them. I think this is a person you'd want to remarry, like after you have kids with someone else. I don't think he ever wanted kids either. But this would be like a good person to co-parent someone else's kids with, but at a later date, maybe. know. I don't know if I did old couple, young couple. No, I don't think I would have dated them in school or at uni really, and then maybe later in life, but it would be weird. Next one, what colour are they? Like that primary yellow with a tinge of gold. My favourite thing about them I loved their nerdy interests. I loved how much stuff in that field they had collected. And their kind of soft perceptiveness. They felt like they were kind of wise, but in the same breath really dumb in other ways. Which can be kind of fun. Like, that was a fun person to have as an object of my affection. Their secret weapon. Their kind of lanky nerdiness. Being a teacher as well. Do you like, love, trust them? I like them. I think I force love on it. That might not actually be there. But then I've pushed for it so much that surely it is there. And I do trust them. But I think the problem with this one is if they hurt me, I'd always be finding them in a situation. And they'd never have they'd never be the bad guy in it, which is kind of more annoying. It's a bit like they'd be taken away by something. And I'd excuse it because that's just how they would be, you know? Do I like, love, trust them or find them attractive? Who am I on? I just did like, love, trust, didn't I? Find them attractive, I do. I did. I was very into them physically. But it's kind of like my type to a T. But then I have multiple types. But it felt more good for me or right for me. But then is it actually, or is it kind of like what I think I deserve, you know? And that might sound insulting, but you have that thought with a lot of people, like, do I know what's good for me? Do I actually respect myself? Do I know what I need? Or am I just romanticizing stuff? Could I call them right now? And no, they wouldn't help me if I needed it, and I couldn't call them. Old couple, young couple. I think we'd make a terrible old couple. We'd make a terrible young couple. I think the point at which we met was a point at which I could have romanticized them like that. And then later, I think it wouldn't have happened. It kind of needed to be that exact dynamic. And then if it fell out of that script, it would have been weird. I think the power dynamic needed to be one where I was the active agent. And as soon as I think the guy had more investment in it, it would have been weird and not good. Rate the connection out of 100, like a 60. Maybe a 70 if I'm pushing it. But then in the same breath, like a 40. First last interaction. Oh, the last one was awkward, but I'd also confessed I liked this guy so many times. I was like trapped in an infinite loop of embarrassing myself. Not because the relationship was embarrassing, but like he didn't like me back. But I kept doing it as some sort of like a self-hazing ritual at that point. And I would always talk about it. It was like my crutch. Like if anyone asked me whether I fancied anyone in the place I was at, it was a crutch for me. But I just couldn't make it work. I don't think I actually have a riz or moves. I think I've gotten better, maybe slightly. And I was very emotionally kind of floaty at the time. But again, I wasn't emotional because I find everything funny. What element is your relationship and how surreal has liking them felt? I feel like we're low-key at like Legoland. Like at like a fake kind of desert in Legoland. Like throwing plastic things at each other. How surreal has liking them felt? I think when I was where this person was, I imagined them more, but I didn't break the kind of sacred barrier and produce scenarios with this person too often, because at that point you're in like a weird alternate reality with them. I don't think I really did that with any of the candidates above as well, except from guys above as well. Other than maybe 1, 2, 3 max, but I never full sent it with them. Then who else? Gosh, I'm on 12, so I've still got a couple to go.